Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for full moon in Aquarius that is happening on the 9th of August. And it's the last full moon before the eclipses. So we are already in eclipse season and it's already felt pretty much, but we have eclipses in September. One in Virgo, one in Pisces, then one in Virgo. But this full moon is like an initiation into those eclipses. And it's very powerful because, of course, we know about the age of Aquarius. And Pluto is in Aquarius now at first degrees of Aquarius. So it's something very revolutionary that is happening on the collective level and also in our individual lives, of course. But this is a big collective shift. It's some kind of massive transformation in how we relate to each other, how we connect, how we communicate, how we interact, how we exchange our energy with other people's energies, how we come together as a group, as a family, as a union, how we communicate, how we create a community. Because community is deeply about coming into the unity and being able to communicate into that unity. So it's very, very important now to pay attention to how we communicate, how we speak, what do we say, what tone do we use, what kind of people surround us, what kind of friends are we part of, what kind of community we are part of, what kind of organization are we part of. These things are very important because Aquarius is related to the people, to the collective, to groups of people, communities, group events, teamwork, our soul family, our tribe of people, and it's also, of course, related to everything that is eccentric, revolutionary, radical, innovative, futuristic, crazy and wild, unpredictable, unconventional, and Aquarius is pretty much about breaking the rules. And the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and Uranus is now in Gemini, first degrees of Gemini, just entered the Gemini. So it's something completely new. It's some very powerful new wave of how we exist in this realm, how we connect with each other, and what does it mean to be a part of something bigger? What does it mean? What is my contribution there? What do I do? How do I impact others? And it's pretty important because it's very challenging, because during the time of this full moon in Aquarius, we have an opposition between Saturn and Mars. Saturn is in Aries, first degrees of Aries, and Mars is first degrees of Libra. So this will also be some kind of push and pull energy in our close personal relationships. Again, relationships, how we relate to each other. And we may feel oppressed by someone, we may feel limited, restricted by maybe an authority figure. We maybe want to do things very quickly, but there are delays. And Saturn says, slow down, because Mars wants to do things very quickly. And we may be fighting for some justice too, because Mars is in Libra. So fighting for justice will be very strong as well. And we may be fighting for our own justice in our relationships with someone, because we may feel attacked, or we may feel provoked, we may feel easily frustrated or irritated. And, you know, we may have a need to argue, to get into conflict, and you know, to prove our point, because Mars and Saturn together, they are not very beneficial, but they do bring powerful long-term results. So this is something that can be very significantly resolved in our one-on-one relationships, in how we relate to each other. And it's very powerful if we can be more patient and if we can be more diplomatic in our relationships with others. And Saturn is in Aries, so we are about to experience restrictions that we put on ourselves. we are going to experience illusions around who we are, because Neptune is also in Aries next to Saturn, and it's opposing this Mars. So some illusions will be brought to light, and this Mars here in opposition with this Neptune and Saturn in Aries will help us cut those illusions. You know, we are cutting off those illusions about who we are, and we are learning who we are through the mirror of the other. You know, this is Aries Libra axis and opposition. You know, we are pushed into some kind of conflictual energy. You know, we may feel like we are pushed on the edge, and we will be able to see how far we've come when it comes to emotional maturity and our ability to rise above the situation and see things from different perspective, because Saturn in Aries is also very much about self-mastery and self-discipline, and we may need some structures. We may need someone maybe older or more experienced who can help us walk through these rites of passages that are very strong now. You know, eclipses, Saturn changed signs, Neptune changed signs, Uranus changed signs, and it's really something that we haven't experienced yet on a collective level. And it's an opportunity to get out of those programs that are truly not functioning anymore and that cannot really survive in the future that we are building. And Aquarius, Uranus, it's about future, and Saturn is about building. So we are building a future that is completely different from what we are experiencing now. But maybe we have a vision, we have a dream, we have planted those seeds somewhere in our psyche, and now it's time for those of us who share a similar dream, who share a similar vision, to come together and to start working on manifesting that dream. And this is what Pluto in Aquarius is about. It's the power of people. It's the power of building a community of people who share the same dream, who share the same vision. I mean, it doesn't have to be fully same, but very similar vision with the same intention. And this is something that really makes huge difference. When, you know, it's enough even if two people who share the same vision and same passion and same dream come together and they do the work towards getting there. That's very powerful. And imagine more people who come together, who share the same vision and same dream. It's really something. It's really something. And of course, we can experience some sudden and radical changes and shocks, because this Uranus, the ruler of this full moon in Aquarius, is making a supportive trine with Mars in Libra. So Uranus is at first degrees of Gemini and Mars is first degrees of Libra. So these are air signs. And Mars is also making a supportive trine with Pluto in Aquarius. So it's something very powerful. And it's the very beginning, because these are first degrees of air signs. And we are changing the collective consciousness. We are changing the way we think, because air is very much related to our intellect, to our thought patterns. So we are definitely getting rid of those toxic mental patterns and the programs that created this reality for a very long time. Now it's a period of time when we are creating something new. We are creating a new reality through changing our mental programs and patterns. And these first degrees of Aquarius, Libra and Gemini, and powerful forces there, Uranus, Mars and Pluto, during the time of this full moon, this is really some kind of shock that is very positive. So we can expect, you know, surprises and beneficial radical changes. And, you know, this can be some kind of information that comes as a shock and that is very good, that kicks us out of our comfort zone, and that makes us do some things that we wouldn't usually do. And this is also Aquarius and Uranus, you know, just like, boom, I'm gonna do this, and I'm not thinking very much about how is it gonna turn out, because I know this is the right thing, because my heart is telling me, it's my authenticity telling me, because Aquarius, across the street of Aquarius is Leo, the heart. So Aquarius and Leo are very much connected, and the sun is in Leo, of course, during the time of this full moon, because full moon means that the sun and the moon are looking at each other and they are, you know, facing each other. So this is the full moon. Something is coming to a fullness, something is coming to a completion, something is reaching the highest peak, something is coming to a close, something is coming to a fruition as well. So in our individual lives, this can be some kind of culmination within our groups of people, within our community, within our team, within our friendships, something that could be shocking but also positive could be happening. We may be experiencing or witnessing a friend going through some kind of big change in their life, and this can impact us deeply, and it can inspire us to change something about how we live our life as well. But, you know, this is the time when something that has been hidden, something that has been avoided, something that has been suppressed or shut down is coming to life. It's brought out into the open, and we have to look at it. We cannot escape it, we cannot run away from it, we have to take a look at it. And it takes a look at us too, so it's staring at us. Something is staring at us from the abyss of our being, and we cannot look away. We have to take a look there. But this full moon and Uranus and Pluto and Mars and Saturn and Neptune, you know, it's not so easy. It's not light-hearted energy, but it's also not so heavy. It's, you know, this is what life is actually. It's never black or white. It's never everything is dark and heavy or everything is light-hearted and easy. That's not possible. That's not the idea of life. But our inner state of being is what we can control. We can never have any control of what's going on outside of us. There is absolutely no way that we can have control of external situations. So it's, you know, we learn through time. Life teaches us that it's completely absurd to worry about external outcomes and what will happen. Of course, we have to be cautious, we have to take care, but if we worry too much, or if those external situations affect us in such a way that it immediately transforms our inner state of being, then something's wrong. Then we are not doing something right, because we don't have control of those things. And during the time of this full moon, Mercury is still retrograde, and Mercury is stationing direct on the 11th of August. But it's retrograde in Leo, so we may be coming back to something. We may be reuniting with people we haven't seen or heard in a while. We may be reconnecting with people from our past. We may be coming back to something we enjoyed doing, or to someone we love, and we parted in the meantime. So now is time for reviewing, reassessing, reconsidering, questioning, and coming back to something we thought we are done with. We are coming back to something that we have to finish. It's time for finishing the unfinished business. It's time for allowing plans to change, allowing our way of thinking to change, because Mercury retrograde is non-linear thinking. It's more intuitive, and in Leo it can be very creative. So this is very powerful time for communication, for written or spoken word, for being able to communicate how we feel on the inside. And when we have this in Aquarius with the group of people and friends, and Uranus in Gemini is also about communication. Gemini is communication. The ruler of Gemini is Mercury. and Uranus is the ruler of this full moon. And you know, this is how it all works. You know, we cannot just look at one aspect. We cannot just take a look at this lunation without looking at the whole picture. And it's always complex, but also very simple at the same time. And we are also dealing with paradoxes now, because paradoxes is the realm of Aquarius and Uranus. But we are about to learn, many of us, that paradoxes actually coexist with each other. There is no conflict in paradoxes, only in our mind that cannot comprehend and understand things that are not always logical. And we are now learning to step out of those, you know, mental frames that keep us small and that don't allow us to expand ourselves. And this is expansion. It's really an expansion of our emotional body and our mental awareness. And we have Jupiter in Cancer, let's not forget about it, because Jupiter is the great benefic who expands everything it touches. And now it's next to Venus in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. It feels very good there. It can express its generosity in the best way, because Cancer is the sign of mother, home, family, safety, security, and food, of course. And Venus is there now, together with Jupiter. So this is some big emotional transformation and emotional wisdom and emotional maturity. And Venus is the planet of love, harmony, beauty, values, self-esteem, self-worth. And this is something that is really showing us that we are worthy, that we don't have to deserve to feel good, to feel worthy, to love ourselves. We don't have to deserve it. We are already, when we are born, we are already beings of love, and we are already worthy, but we forget about it. So this Jupiter-Venus conjunction can really remind us of that and open our hearts and open our emotional centers, unlock our higher emotional centers, and connect us with that wisdom that resides within us, that is usually unavailable to us. And there is some bigger story here. It's time for emotional release of things that condition us from the past. And we are breaking free from past conditionings. We are breaking free from things that keep us locked into those mental and emotional frames, into those programs that we have inherited from our through our upbringing, through our education, through our jobs, through our relationships with authorities, you know, our learned behaviors. And you know, we are now really able to connect with our true karmic and dharmic path. It's our purpose and it's not depth, it's our path and purpose, our karma and dharma. And we are connecting with people who are meant to be in our life now. So let's pay attention to who shows up in our life and who we reconnect with during this time, with this Mercury retrograde. And we may have an opportunity to talk about something from the past, to finish a conversation that started before, but we never had a chance to finish it. Now we will have a chance to really bring something to an end, if needed, or to refresh it, to renew it, to transform it, to upgrade it, to take it to the next level with a certain group of people or with our friends. And things can come out of the sudden, you know. It's energy of shock, and shocks are good because they immediately push us out of our comfort zone, of our nest, and they take us somewhere where we didn't expect and we couldn't see it coming. And there is this pressure of the change, integration of something different. And you know, there are stuff stored at the bottom of ourselves that are coming up now. And we are being able to reveal them through our relationships with others, through our way of relating with each other. And pressure, of course, can also be a good thing. Saturn puts the pressure on us so that we can learn, understand, and make an effort that is that is greater than usual. When we are under pressure, we are going to do something that we wouldn't usually do. That's why pressure is good. And as I always say, there is no release without pressure. And Saturn, that puts the pressure, also is the one who squeezes the essence out of something. When we press something, the essence comes out. So the pressure is not really bad. The pressure is very constructive if we know how to connect with it and how to interpret it to ourselves without complaining. And it's very important to become more aware of our complaining. It's time to let go of complaining. It's time to recognize it and just stop there. When we see that we are going into complaining mode, it's time to take a break and just stop, observe, and just make a new choice. Don't go into complaining mode, because it's really draining our energy and our vitality when we are complaining. I know it's addictive, it's very attractive to complain. It somehow makes us feel easier, but it's not getting us anywhere, and it's actually not making it any easier. It's only an illusion. It's a temporary relief, and it's actually very egotistical, because we want to talk about ourselves, to complain. Or we find, we find collective themes to complain about the life, the world we live in, or the political situation, or everything that is happening in the world. Complaining is not getting us anywhere. And when we raise our own vibration, as I spoke in previous video, when I talked about new moon in Leo, this is our greatest contribution to the collective, to the team. When I do what I am good at, when I do what is essentially me, what is my authenticity, and when I give my contribution from that place, and when others do the same, they do their own authenticity and essential skills and potentials, then this is the true power of people. But imagine if we are all coming together and complaining, what are we going to do? Or if only one person is finding solution, that kind of system is also collapsing, where we have, one main character and others who are listening and who are perhaps expressing their attitude about something that is problematic, about some issue, and then there is one person who decides and who is the head of the tribe, But that's changing. That's changing. The age of Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, Saturn in Aries, these transits are really pushing us into some kind of new way of living completely. And the system is transforming as well. But let's not forget that there is no change if we don't change within ourselves. Many people count on external changes, yes, things are changing, the collective is changing. I see so much people who are, talking about this, talking about that, more aware of the importance of organic food and stuff but it doesn't have any effect if we are not doing the real work within ourselves. This is what is real. This is the real deal. We can lie ourselves, we can live in an illusion, we can hide in some kind of community, in some kind of group of people where people are enlightened or very knowledgeable or very practical, doing very good things. But if we are not doing it really, if we are just hiding there, if we are lying to ourselves that we are doing it for the greater good, we are going to be faced with that too. So it's very important that it comes from the heart, Leo, across from Aquarius. So when we come from the heart and when we experience that pure joy, then we can, you know, be that community. Then we can build the community. Then we can attract, we magnetize and attract people who also live from the heart, who are able to experience pure joy, no matter what is happening externally. And this is what is now very important, you know, to reach that space within ourselves, to practice it, to be able to observe, to be a conscious witness of events and not just a mechanical doll who is, you know, being moved by external circumstances left and right, up and down. No, we are asked to really be centered, to observe, to be alert, to do things that are our duty, you know, not to do things that are other people's responsibilities, but let me do what I'm good at, you know. It's not, Aquarius talks about the community where each person gives and offers something that is authentically their skill, their talent. You know, it's not like we are all good at one thing and we come to, no, it's like everyone, each person in the team, in the community is giving something essential, and this is where the power resides. So we are also doing that within ourselves now. We are collecting those lost pieces of ourselves, our lost tribe, our lost family within ourselves, parts of ourselves that we have either forgotten about, that we have suppressed, that we have abandoned, that we have, you know, stopped treating well. All those parts of us are also coming into the union. They are also coming together. Together, they are gathering, they are coming into union, and each of those, each part of ourselves has something essential to bring to the whole. Each part of us. So if we cut off certain part of us that we don't like, how can we be whole? You know, we say we love ourselves, of course, but do we love those parts that our image, our mask doesn't like? Do we really love that side of us? Or do we just love ourselves selectively? Do we love those parts of us that we know others will love and approve? You know, it's very tricky energy, and we will be faced with these kinds of things now. We will be faced with our own misinterpretations of ourselves and our deceptions and lies about ourselves. And something or someone can make us feel mad during this time, and this is good. This is good because those who trigger us really help us see what triggered us, where are we still hurt. So someone can maybe say something unpredictable or do something that you didn't expect, and this can, you know, make us frustrated in some way, and this will take us on a longer journey within ourselves. This is something that will really give us a closer look into those lost parts of ourselves that we have denied, avoided, ignored, suppressed, or shut down. Because when we do these things, then they come through others to us. They come as challenges, tests, threats, and fights and conflicts and arguments, disagreements, quarrels. You know, all these things are actually showing us what we are doing to ourselves. And they are always teaching us. Teachers are everywhere. Everything and everyone is a teacher. And we should never forget that. especially not during this time when we are in eclipse season with all these powerful aspects and transits going on. You know, everything and everyone is a teacher, and we could be making some long-term decisions that are related to our relationships because of this Saturn-Mars opposition in Aries and Libra. And this will turn out to be something beneficial, of course, even though it can look like some kind of tension and struggle because of the opposition. But, you know, let's let the smoke clear, because it will clear. Mercury is retrograde now, so we may be misinterpreted and misunderstood, or we may misinterpret or misunderstand someone. So let's be patient. Let's wait until Mercury stations direct, and then let's wait another couple of days to gain the clarity of what's been going on these couple of weeks, and especially during the time of this full moon, because we may be confused. You know, something may not feel right, or we may be in a state of being where we say, I cannot believe that this person said that, or I cannot believe that he or she did that, or someone else may not believe what we said or did. But let's wait, because things may not be as they seem right now. They are getting clearer after the 11th of August. And, you know, this is potent time in terms of our growth and evolution individually and collectively. And what we are meant to do now is to be focused on living from our hearts and gaining clarity about the new forms that we are meant to move into. This energy is calling us to change the forms and structures of how we live daily lives. And, you know, this full moon is calling us into that consciousness of the sacredness of all life. The sacredness of all life. And we may have to experience some kind of disconnection also, a separation from the sacredness of all around us, and disconnection from each other. And, you know, separation is needed in order to understand what union means. And there is also in the myth of Uranus and Gaia, there is this wisdom that is being locked in this kind of myth. You know, Uranus and Gaia, they were in a complete union, the heaven and earth. Uranus, heaven, Gaia, earth, of the spirit and matter, and they were one. And then separation happened, and through this separation, creation happened. So one became two, and then from one, many. And this is how it all begins. This is, you know, from oneness into, just like when I spoke about the sun in previous video, the sun is one, but then it has the rays that reach everyone and everything on this planet Earth. So sometimes this separation is needed so that we can create something and then come back into union. You know, it's something that teaches us about the power of union and the power of separation, the power of oneness and the power of diversity as well. And there is a deep understanding of who we are as energy beings. And this is a call to emotionally continue to be aware of whatever is hidden in shadows. And in our own lives and collectively, of course, we are meant to bring those traumas and pain and wounds from the past in conscious relationship so that we can understand where they come from. Aquarius is related to traumas, and we may be more aware of how trauma works through our connection with others, through our community, through our relationship with our friends, because something could be happening on a collective level that shows us the depth and the meaning of trauma. And you know, we all live with traumas. They are not something, you know, demonic or I don't know what. This word has been demonized a lot, and we should transform the interpretation of it, because it's actually something that is necessary for our growth. Just like, you know, our essence cannot grow without our personality. You know, we have an essence, it's our oneness, it's our, let's say, inner sun. That's the essence. And then around the essence, there is a greater circle that is our personality, our mask. So we are, because our essence wouldn't be able to survive in this 3D realm without personality. So personality is very much needed. You know, it's ego. We cannot live without our ego. We wouldn't be able to communicate, to do our job, to be polite to each other, to do things. We wouldn't be functional. So we need this in order for our essence to grow. And in the same way, we need trauma in order to come back into the union with ourselves. Because trauma is what initiated us into this realm. The moment we are born is trauma. You know, it's trauma for our body. It's right away. It's immediate, instant trauma. The moment we are born. So we come with the trauma. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's not something scary. It's actually a very organic part of us. It's who we are. Also, it holds the code of our growth, just like the seeds of everything. The seed of the tree, you know, it has the whole program and code of that tree. The seed already has all the information. So the trauma, in the same way, trauma has all information for our growth. But somehow we've been taught that this is something scary and bad and dangerous and negative. But it's actually just, you know, the way to grow and to glow. And this is how we reprogram ourselves. We change our perspective. We change our feeling about something, you know. And we are now getting rid of those seeds that are not helping us grow, that are actually keeping us at the same level, you know. And we shouldn't stay the same. We should always transform, always transform. And this is the beauty of life. We are changing, but we stay stuck because we are afraid to change. We are afraid how others will look at us if we change. We are afraid that we will lose our identity if we change. So we stay, you know, very loyal to our mask, very loyal to our role, very loyal to our past and to our traumas. We are so loyal to our pain and suffering, so loyal to how we do things in life, because how I do things is who I am, but how we do something is not who we are. And this full moon in Aquarius is here to help us realize that we are much more than our role, than our way of doing things. much more than our body, much more than our trauma, much more than all these things that we are somehow strongly affected by. And we cannot be guided by rules from the past. And many of us live in that way. We live by being guided by rules of the past. And where do we get living like that? Nowhere. We only stay stuck in the past. We repeat and repeat and repeat the same old, and we always wonder, why is this happening to me again? Because we live by rules from the past. So this is a time to break those rules. Uranus, Aquarius, revolutionary, eccentric. We can break the rules now. Let's not be afraid of breaking those rules. And we have to move into new ways of being and seeing, move into new forms, open to new paradigms. If only 1% of us opens to this higher consciousness and awakening, it can change the collective consciousness. Only 1% of the whole collective is necessary. And we are all responsible. We all have responsibility to do that now. It's important to connect with our tribe, with those who are awakening, to be in a community with them, to collaborate in creating new forms together. And this full moon will get us in touch with those kinds of people. It's a call to shift. It's a call to shift our consciousness and to align with the source. And we are asked to see what kind of paradigms are we meant to let go of that no longer serve us. It's time of transition. And it's very important to come from our hearts and not try to control our circumstances. And to know that everything is a part of sacred energetic web of life and consciousness. Everything is in a coherent relationship with each other. Nothing is separate from each other. Nothing. Wherever I look, it has something that is related to me personally too. Everyone I meet while passing by, people I look at their faces, what they say while passing by, it all has a meaning. And some of us will realize that this is also a dream. What we are experiencing here is a dream. It's just a different kind of dream. It has different quality than the one when we are sleeping with our eyes closed. But this is also a dream. And it's time to wake up when we realize that we are dreaming. It's like, we realize in the middle of the dream that we are dreaming. And this is something that brings us awakening. And this can happen through our connections, through our community, through our relationships with others too. And we are soul selves who never die, who journey through lifetime after lifetime. And it's very important to be aware of this too. And remember to not drop into fear. This is what the system is trying always, to keep us in fear. Because when we are in fear, we will do some things that are really not aligned with our soul's purpose. So I invite you all not to drop into fear. And dream big. And let's be fearless. Because, as I said, this is a dream. And we can dream a better dream collectively. Let's turn this collective nightmare into a dream that is really worth dreaming and that we are aware of, So I invite us all to wake up and to dream a beautiful dream and to experience ourselves and are parts of ourselves as our lost tribe who reunites and comes back together and honors each part as an authentic expression of the divinity. I love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.